Okay, let's get started. Saturday afternoon or early evening, depending on how you want to look at it. Almost 12 hours since last time I was on. Last time I started, anyways. Welcome back. So, what has happened since then? Well, we finished the unit of cavalry, and we sealed them, and we based them, and this is what they look like. Obviously, we still have to paint the basing. Trying to find a lighting where it's correct, because my light is just too powerful. So I'm actually not going to paint the basing right now. I'm going to roll right into the next one, the next group, which I've already started kind of tinkering with this morning a little bit. And we'll leave this for later. I put this goop on maybe an hour and a half ago, and it's almost dry enough to paint. So the new basing material, the Vallejo one, is definitely faster drying. It probably dries in, it seems like half the time, maybe a third as fast. Anyways, that I have internet problems last night. Not that I know of. Last night? Not that I know of. One thing I did do is I had changed when we were doing all those quiz shows and stuff. We're doing the quiz thing. I had changed the latency to a little bit, so you guys have a little bit faster response time, and that may have affected the quality you guys were getting, but not that I know of. But we're going to, and let's take a look at some of these. Let's take a look at them. Just ignore the base because it's not done yet. But this is I think the way to go was definitely to paint them in units. So the shield you see up there in the right hand corner, that's what the next unit is going to look like. So we've got a predominantly white, a predominantly blue, a predominantly green, and it'll be a predominantly red one. So I don't know if I'm going to do the little center. There's like a little blue, dark blue around the boss. We will see if I end up doing that, or I ended up just there's a little bit of yellow around it too. We'll just see how that plays out. Anyhow, I don't want to get bogged down with trying to finish this when you just roll with the other cavalry. And just to kind of give you an idea with the padded armor, I was really apprehensive of doing the padded armor. And Storm of Steel, welcome. This is the elusive padded armor that was cast on these figures that I had no idea what the heck it was, because it looked like bark. And but it's apparently quilted armor. And let's see if I can zoom that in a little bit more so you can get the idea of what it is. But that's, sometimes you end up having to paint things and you don't have a clue what the sculptor had in mind. Let's de-blurify that a little bit. This guy right here. What's really weird about this being padded armor is that the ridges are on the outside where it connects to each one, instead of the ridge being in the middle and there being gaps between the pads. So that's just very strange when I looked at that, and I'm like, what is it, like bark? It was just something, so I think it's kind of a miscast. And here's the one in blue. Come on, you can do it. You can focus. Or maybe you can't. What if I press this little button right here? What's that do? Nothing. There we go. It looks like bark. It's very, there we go. There, that's in focus. It looks like bark. So I just kind of went with it, But I think I only have two of these guys. If I had a third, I'd do one that was red. So, and the other thing I had to do was that You can see there, it's a mixture of figures. Man, why does it get all like out of whack again? Maybe I'm too zoomed in. Okay. There's a mixture of figures. So as you can see, this guy on the end is an Elaine Tulare figure, and you can see that the boss on the shield is significantly bigger than the two Old Glory guys. And because of that, I couldn't get the design to be exactly the same. But it was good enough for government work. So, greetings from Orléans. Just staying one night on your way back home to Germany. They found out you were German and the French kicked you out. Perfect. Traveling man, good. I'm glad you're back to doing your tours and stuff and get the life back as normal. But anyhow, this is that's where we're at right now. So we are going to continue the escapade of painting the next 3 cavalry figures, and then we'll have to do 3 cavalry figures for the commander. And hope to God we get around to doing the command post before Historicon. Because we do not want... I want to daydream. I've got to spend about 30 hours in a car, and I'd like to daydream about what army I'm going to do next. Not go, well, I got to do the command post when I get back. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to enjoy doing that. But I would like to start on the next project. Which may or may not be the Huns. Including everything from Attila to the White Huns. And that will force me, well, it's not really forcing me, but that will get me to finally buy some Forged in Battle figures. I would buy 3 packs of them. The cavalry, the medium cavalry, and the 2 lights. Although I'm not a big fan of the mixed weapons, so I may actually forgo that. Prefer my Huns with bows. Sunday morning here, must get started on a few honeydews. Hopefully catch you a bit later. Okay. They have honeydews in New England? Screw it, I'm not moving there then. Earthquakes and honeydews, I'm out. All right, let's paint the scabbard for the sky. U.S. field drab is what we've been using. Honeydews. Honeydews and cantaloupes. All right. This needs to... Don't need those glasses. That's my 3.75 glasses that I use if I've got to do like... Actually, I gooped on them. I had my contacts in. I decided not to take my contacts for that. I was on my way out. Actually, I was on my way back in. And I swear, like an hour and a half, and the basing is dry. I mean, it could dry more. Don't get me wrong, but that Vallejo basing is definitely dries a little faster than the Liquitex, which, you know, the only reason I switched over to it is because the Liquitex was no longer available. Not that, you know, I wasn't happy with the results the product was giving me. And that's usually what gets me to change. If, you know, I only change how I'm doing things if something happens with the supply. So, let me do the scabbard on here. Actually, we probably need to darken this a little bit more. And of course, the whole reason to do the Huns is because Mitch is picking an army that the Huns are the main enemy of. So that makes sense. We're going to do a lot of scenarios. And if he's got a brand new army specifically painted for the Chinese, I want to have a new army too. Also, it's mostly light cavalry. It shouldn't take that long to paint. Well, it is me, so it will take a long time to paint, but it's not that many. What? 8 light horse? That's still only 16 figures. So, but we'll see. I'm only interested in about 200 other armies on my short list. So, and it would be an excuse to paint another Heffalump, which are always fun to paint. So I did spend about 2.5 hours outside right after I disconnected and did yard work and have a twinge of a headache because of it. And that's with me hydrating like crazy. But it's pretty hot out there. Oh, now it doesn't tell me what the temperature was? It was definitely over 90. And I don't know what that is in Celsius. I don't know, 35, 40. I don't mind the metric system. I don't care for it for temperature. I know how it works. It's just not very practical. You know, you're never talking about stuff over like 40. You know, it's not like it's ever 185 degrees outside. Anywho. Very, very hot. And I don't mind doing it, but I don't understand people who enjoy it. Doing yard work. I can't find it enjoyable. Because in 2 weeks, everything you've done has been undone. So how the hell is that enjoyable? That's like, I'm painting all these figures, and in about 2 weeks, they'll all be unpainted. Oh yeah, and by the way, while you're painting them, you need to be like, sweating up a storm and fighting bugs and stuff. So I don't find it enjoyable. It's just something that's got to be done. And I don't want to pay somebody the amount of money that people are asking to do that kind of thing. So F it, I'll do it myself. Let me paint a house. Oh, what happens in 2 weeks? It unpaints itself. You got to repaint it. What? That's like sadistic, exactly. So this guy has a red theme shield, everybody in there. So we've got to do a shirt color underneath that kind of goes with that. And I'm not necessarily opposed to something that throws a little bit down in the pink direction. So we may do that. This red that we're going to use is going to be not flat red and not scarlet, the other one. They're ever so slightly different. Scarlet's the orange one. The one that's Bermellon. Not a word I've ever used in Spanish. So that's the base red that we're going to use. So with that in mind, I don't know that I'm going to go very pink because that's going to interfere with the color of the flesh. It's going to be too close to that. And I don't want to use dark red. That's what we're using for all of the... that's what we're doing for all of the trappings on the horses. Let's pull that out. We're going to need that in a moment. How about this color down here? What the hell is this color? Dark red. Oh, this is a watery thing. This is a damn near useless color. How about this one? We're going to mess with the sunset red. And no, it won't be this bright. Sunset red. It's freaking pink. Bloody pink. But we're going to be smart about this. Let's not drop into this because I'm going to be thinking it's going to be the wrong color right off the bat. I'm going to insist it's the wrong color. So before I go and do that, let me do his fleshy parts. So at least we have that next to it and can compare. All right. So, of course, the flesh is no good anymore. Those colors are just dried out. So let's get our two. And this guy does kind of have an awkward face. It is a gladiator miniatures figure. And some of their lines are kind of soft looking. They almost look Pillsbury Doughboy-ish in a way. Mr. Ben, welcome back. We saved your seat here for you. And they do have a weird look. So we just have to keep that in mind. But we're going to go ahead and do the fleshy bits on here, which there aren't that many. It's just the face and the hand. So let's get that on here. And mix the red leather, which is what I like to use as the base color on this guy. He kind of has like a face of constipation, this guy. He looks a bit like Gilbert Gottfried. Although he's a lot bigger than Gilbert Gottfried, but the face of anguish and constipation. Face of in dire need of a laxative. And yes, he's got a beard as well. Right. Let's add a little bit more of this. got home back from having some food after we got showered up and everything, and I figured, let me play a little bit of Field of Glory. I just couldn't get into it. I'm like, I need to paint. I just wasn't feeling it. It's like, I know I got to get these things done. I'm about ready to start another campaign, though. I think I've learned enough that I need to try something else. The smart thing is I probably should just turn around and play the same people. But I started tinkering around with the Samnites. I figured, well, what happens if the Samnites march on Rome? Just go to battle immediately, all in, right? The problem is that that's in the earlier scenario. I think it's the 550 scenario. They're Rome and the other country the other territory that's in charge of that Capua is in. I forget what it's called. They're both client states of the Etruscans. And you can't just march in there. You got to declare war. You can't declare war on them. You got to declare war on the Etruscans. So I did that, and I marched on Rome, and the army that was in Rome went somewhere else, and I'm like standing outside Rome, and I'm like, now what? So I gotta tinker around with it and find out what I gotta do. But I'm like, yeah, this is too complicated. Let me do some painting. That, and I'd fallen asleep too. When you're outside in the sun for many hours, the radioactivity wears you out. The radioactivity from the sun. So I'm like, I need to do some painting. I don't need to tinker around with this. But I may do that. I might play the Samnites and just see how that goes. Figured I can win the tactical battles. I know how to play that. I'm pretty successful with that. Some people hate doing faces, and I happen to like them. It brings the figure to life. I need to get rid of this window. It's kind of in my way of seeing what's going on. There we go. Went to the hardware store. We'll call it the hardware store. Ended up buying some Roundup. It was expensive, but supposedly it's good for a year. So we'll do that tomorrow. I didn't have it. I didn't have it available to do. I thought I had some, and I had some left over, but I opened up the container of the sprayer, and it was like a I don't know about algae, because I don't think algae can grow in Roundup. Roundup's pretty nasty stuff. For those guys who don't know what that is, it's basically a weed killer. And yeah, we need to get rid of that and buy a new one. So tomorrow morning, or sometime in the morning, I'll go around and we'll see if we can't keep this out of control. It's supposed to be good for like a year. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath. That seems like an extreme promise, but we got some bad weeds here that are called cat claws. And you can't, if you wear gloves and you try to pull them up, it'll go right through the glove. You know, they're thorny, like really small, like rose things, but they go right through the glove. So we got them growing in a few places. We want to get rid of those things. Not that we spend that much time in the backyard at all. Certainly not in this weather. But you can't just let things go crazy either. There he is, Captain Jenga. Oh man, is this the command post yet? No, I just got some of my 3D printed siege towers in and throwing some paint on one of them. How do they look? How do they look? You would think I would be really interested in that, because I do have a drafting background, or I used to have a drafting background, but this is a no frustration zone, and that just throws some frustration on it. And we're going to order one of those Chinese. We're going to order one of those Chinese cities. Mitch is so excited to do one of those. Or well, he's not going to do anything other than pay for it. I'm going to paint it for him for free. But we're probably going to try the easy one first, the one that's just square, and see how it comes out. If it even looks as good as the ziggurat that I painted for Joe, if it prints out as good as the ziggurat looks, then yeah, it'll be a hit. Because I think that's where we're going to go next. We're going to go to China. We're going to do some battles with the Han Chinese. So even though this Chinese city may actually not be in the game, it's going to be off to one corner, what have you. So, but he was all excited about order me one order. I said, I'm not ordering you shit. I'm not doing it until these Byzantines are done, and then we can mess with that. I am not painting that for you until this army is done, which, you know, they'll go into battle in less than 2 weeks. But no, this is not the command post. I don't think it's likely the command post is going to get done by Historicon. There's just not enough. There's just not enough time. So I'm not really sure how that whole 3D printing makes. The 3D printing stuff is all over the place. I bought some 6,000 scale ships that were beautiful. And then the ziggurat that Joe did is kind of rough. I mean, it's kind of rough looking. It worked, but it's kind of rough looking. I guess it's resin. Those little skeletons that I have from my Dracula's army, those are as good as anything. It's white metal, like really good quality. How big do you want the cities to be? I'm going to go with whatever size you have on there. I don't know. I don't think that DBA works really well for sieges. And if I'm going to use Huns, they're not going to siege anything. So you wouldn't use shapeways to print the cities. I used Print a Thing for these siege towers, and they're only $1.39 a piece. Okay. Print a Thing. I never heard of it. Well, we'll try it. Yeah, shapeways wanted like $30 for it. Which is fine, but I mean, I can only see having 2 of them. But how big do I want them to be? Well, I was making one. Hell, you're here, so let's talk about this. It was actually a project of mine. I had to make them, but you know, I'm not a 3D printer. I gotta make everything, you know, a set of one. And let me show you how far I got. I didn't get very far. You are the right person to show this to. All right. Couple things. F shapeways. Well, they're in New York, so that's probably not. That's half the problem right there. I've used them, but they've gotten really expensive. I don't really care about cost as long as they look good. But if they're expensive and don't look good, that's no good. Let's see if we can keep this thing from bending. I need to zoom this far enough that I can show you what I was working on. All right. I forgot that I had this. This is a city that was made by Mitch's painter when he was doing 3D stuff, and I forgot I had this. I need to finish this out. And this looks okay, but as you can see, as you get closer, there's a lot of lines and stuff. And this is going to be a little BUA, and I don't know, it almost looks like a candle. But anyhow, that's not what I wanted to show you. It just happened to be right there. All right, so I wanted a wall city. All right, so here's, and to kind of give you an idea of what size do I want. I don't want it too big, because if it's too big, it's going to take me too long to paint it. So this is the city I was putting together. All right, and a couple things. It is made of cardboard. Huh. Guess it stuck to it. And this is a shim. These are the shims that I used to use. These are the shims that I used to use for painting on before I went to the wet palette. They're shims from work, and they're you know, you put them under concrete and stuff to shim things up. And so this is just made of cardboard, and you can see the barriers because it's going to have an outside wall. Did I get around to doing one of the walls? Holy shit! I got all kinds of stuff here. I didn't know I had little rough patches and stuff. I mean, I got to get painting. So, you know, I'm going to do, you know, a tower here. Well, I'm not going to do anything now that you got those 3D printed ones. Well, it's a big city. This is a big city. I think it's too big, but we're going to have towers here on the ends and a walkway. And I actually shimmed this up because I didn't need it that deep. And then there's some buildings I was going to put inside. This is from a game. Had these little houses, and I was going to arrange them in here, but this would just take forever to freaking paint. But there was nothing. This is also from the game or whatever, you know. So you could put this in there, put some neighborhoods. This is from a Japanese castle. Put this in a corner. But yeah, this is pretty big. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 base widths by 5 base widths. It could actually be 6 by 6. That's as big as it is, but I figured some of it could be off the board. But it's like a big town. But I'm never going to get around to doing this because I'm not interested in the building part. I'm interested in the painting part. You know, anybody can build. Well, not everybody can build, but I'm more interested in the painting parts. This is as far as I got, and I was probably working on this probably 3 years ago, and not messing with that. The one that's on Shapeways is, what, about 3 inches by 3 inches? That size is about right. Maybe a little bit bigger than that would be all right. 4 by 4. But have you used that printer thing? I want the quality on it to be good. You know, I don't want it to have like tons of flash. I got to spend like an hour cleaning it. Oh, I left all these little. Yeah, look at these little. Look at these little buildings. They're from some game that I bought. I like the pieces, but they're kind of rubbery-ish a little bit, and the paint comes off of them, and I ain't got time for that. Anyhow, that's a project I was working on about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm a big fan of Asian armies, although I'll be honest with you, my Asian armies haven't done worth a shit ever since I put the boycott on Chinese products. So, well, maybe I'll never do well with Chinese armies then, if that's the case. But he's got a Han Chinese army coming, east and west. So the intention is to do battles with them. And who are their enemy? Well, of course, the Huns. So that's probably what I'm going to do next. Well, let's see what printer thing wants. I'll post settings. Yeah, is there any way they can print like in resin or something like that so there's less of the grain? I honestly don't know. I don't know anything about it. I mean, all I know is the first year, like 1989 or 1990, that computer-aided drafting was offered in a college. I took it. And the biggest problem is not using it. It was formatting everything to print the right size. And it was so frustrating. It made me want to put my fist through the computer. So I do not want to have anything to do with that. I just don't have the personality to just waste hours on hours and hours on something and gets you nowhere. I don't care about painting something that takes me all day to paint because I'm constantly making progress. But to spend 3 or 4 hours on something and I still didn't make any progress or this isn't working, I just don't have the personality for that. You know, I don't mind things take a long time. I have patience. I just don't have patience for nothing to show for your time investment. Those little houses, they are really cool. That's why I picked up that game. I don't know, it was some silly collectible type game. And they're more Japanese looking than Chinese, but it's a Pan-Asian type city. All right, we were doing the fleshy bits, right? So I got my Jenga box that came in. We had a copy of it, but I lost it. Or we sold it, or we never used it, or whatever. It was the Truth or Dare version of it, so. You know, I didn't want to play Truth or Dare with Mitch. Don't want to get that friendly with you. And he asked for the 4th off. And every time he asks for something different than his normal schedule, he gets punished by having to work a weird schedule. Normally he's available like Friday evenings. Oh, we'll play Friday evening. Nope. Couldn't play Friday evening. And I'm really excited to do it. My only concern with the rules aren't that they're not going to be any good, are going to be that, are we going to find somewhere that's not flimsy enough for it not to fall over intentionally? Because, like, let's say I pull 2 tiles and it doesn't fall on me, all right? And we're playing the game and we do a die roll, and while he's doing it, the tower falls down. What do you do then? How do you resolve that? In other words, what happens when the tower falls and in the middle of play and it wasn't anybody's turn to pull? You know, I'm concerned that that's an issue. They have resin printing too, but usually much more expensive. I posted these siege towers I got on Fanaticus. The layer lines are 0.2 mil. They're pretty hard to see on these siege towers. Okay. Well, Mitch is buying it, so, you know. Yeah, what happens if the tower falls accidentally? What do you do? What have you... certainly that's happened to you. I think he's going to... We'll both like it. We'll either both like it or both hate it. I don't really have to convince him of much. And it's not that, you know... We're kind of looking for the same thing. So generally when he says, hey, I played this game and it's really good, if he likes it, I usually will like it as well. Yet a similar thought. What if somebody tips it on purpose? Oh, that's just a dickhead. You take him outside and beat him. Well, you can't play with a dice cup. The dice cup's going to move stuff, so... I think it would make a good video. And of course we're going to film it. That'd make a good video. Extra excitement. Do they get one last all-out attack? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll never fall down. We don't have to worry about that. All right. Here comes the fruity color. And no, we're not going all the way up to the full... Ooh, this thing feels like it's either mushy and solid. In other words, it's got a lot of liquid and then there's like a solid part in there. All right. This should look a little grayish with black, I suspect. And we don't want to use that one just yet. We don't want to waste our good brushes on something that could be handled by a crappier brush. I think if the tower falls accidentally, it could be a first to lose an element, or you have to reassemble the tower and pull 15, taking turns. I don't know, it's a good question. We'll have to figure it out. We're not going to be able to put the tower on the same table that we're playing on. The room that we play in is basically a shed. If you can envision a shed that is almost like a in-law quarters. However, it's not insulated at all, and it's got subflooring. So the floor is actually kind of bouncy. So if you put a table on top of it, it's going to be naturally a little bouncy. And I don't know, I'm sure we'll solve that however it is. Maybe it'll be something that you can only play at my house with it. But I like the concept of it. I like thinking outside the box. We both like the unpredictability. right, maybe we'll add a little bit more core color. And that's it. That's all we're going to stop. We're not going to get into uber pink because we still have to add some white to it. Yeah, this isn't too bad right here. And a lot of these paint schemes, people don't know shit about it, You just have to kind of pull things out of your ass. And I just decided that it makes sense to me that they would be in units. Oh man, I forgot that there was a little bit down here. All right, let's put the first layer down here. Here we go. There's a little bit of that showing. And then we got somebody from out of town coming on Tuesday that has never been on video. So we won't be able to do that on Tuesday. So we're looking at next month. We're looking at next Friday to possibly do that. But I'm real excited to see how it plays out. There you go, Nordic back again. Watching a miniseries. What miniseries are you watching? I thought you said you had rented Vikings, but I thought you'd seen Vikings before. I heard that they had to stop making Vikings because the budget for eyeliner was up too high. The blue and the gray. I don't think I know that one. You said that, and the first thing I thought of is, North and South. Because the old miniseries North and South, which obviously I didn't watch because it was Civil War. Although I have watched Gettysburg twice and saw Gods and Generals once. It was all right, I guess. Maybe a lot of people are into it because their ancestors fought on one side or the other or both. But my people hadn't arrived here yet. We're waiting for air conditioning. Okay, this color's fucking brilliant. Or I'm really happy with it. But again, I used a color. I didn't go all the way up to what it could do. Sometimes you got to stop short. Using these different colors just allows you to not have to create everything from scratch. Just kind of gives you a starting point. I know, I'm kind of running into this thing that every army I do, I like better than the previous one I did. That doesn't mean the ones I did three times ago I don't like. I'm really enjoying it. We've seen Vikings, did Red Vikings, but they just went out jealous of our Viking eyeliner. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's probably a little bit unrealistic. I have North and South, very good. I'm Civil War fan buff. Everything laid out for dinner, and a package of 3D printed stuff came in the mail, and now here painting and chatting. Perfect. The folks that did the skeletons, that's as good as anything white metal. And I'm really scared of it not being very durable, but I probably shouldn't be, because it's not bendy. And, you know, I'm going to be careful with it. I mean, can accidents happen? Absolutely. But they also don't weigh very much. So the fact that resin things or 3D printed things are light enough that if they fall on the ground, they're probably not going to crush themselves. All right, it's time. Let me show you what I mean about this color. Ah, you guys are getting it terrible. It doesn't look like that. Anyways, it's not pink. It looks good. You have to wait until I get 3 of them done, and you know. Ancestors didn't fight, and as far as I know, best friend in the 90s was in the Civil War, got me in as well. He did a reenactment with the 69th Pennsylvania. Wool uniforms all around. Okay, let's do, actually I need to use the little boy's room. I will be right. These towers I got are lightweight, worries me. Yeah. I'll be right back in a moment. All right, now I want to finish what this guy looks like. I prefer the 1768 warrant uniform of the British Army over Union Blue. Try putting a couple of washers in it. Yeah, the problem with making things heavier, like I have something, I'm trying to think of what it is, that's really lightweight. And putting a magnet on it is a bad idea because there's enough resistance that I'm going to have to try to grip that light thing. And I forget, what is it that I have? There's something I have that I'm like, oh man, there's a whole lot of pull on this thing that doesn't have a lot of strength to it. No, they're like little siege tower type things, Chinese siege tower things. They look good on the drawing, on the rendering. They look really good. All right, time to get all buff and shit. All right, so how long have I been using this paint palette version 2? There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know that it's any better than the version 1. I wouldn't go out and rush and buy it if you have a version 1 or you already have a paint palette that you use. I can tell you right now that one of the things, the paper is weird, but it works better despite the lint, which I think it's just from stuff floating around. All the stuff that floats around anyways, and we all breathe in. And it's bigger, which allows me to use more of the... I think ideally I'd want a strip that was really long because, you know, you just avoid just trying to flip this thing around, but I wouldn't go and buy it, just be if you already have one that works. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. And then we'll do the helmet, and then we'll roll into the shield. Actually, we'll do the horse last on this guy. Not that it really makes that much of a difference. I don't always paint in a set way. I generally do the horses first. But I wanted to see what this clothing color was going to do. Have I ever been to Gettysburg? Yes, I have. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I didn't like about it. I'll tell you what I did like it about it, and I'll tell you what I didn't like about it. What I liked about it the most was Little Round Top, because it had those markers where you could tell where the regiments were. So that was cool. The only thing I didn't like about it, and it's kind of inevitable, is that because of the growth of trees and other things, you're not seeing what the people at the battle saw. And I know there's probably no way to avoid that, but so many things are done really well from like the markers of units. And then there's other things that's just like, you know, that tree line wouldn't have been there. It's like, man, they should have done a better job of, I don't know if they could have done it, just kept the trees from growing so people would have a better idea. But I thought Little Round Top was really, really cool with the symbols. And of course, Devil's Den was cool as well. We went before Historicon 2018. In 2018 we went. 2019 we did Fredericksburg. And the year they had no cons, we're going to go see the battleship in North Carolina. So that's what we're going to do on our way up there. It takes us 2 days to get up there because if we leave at 5 a.m., we have to go around DC and Baltimore rush hour for both, so it's not feasible. So we have to do something along the way up there. And, you know, or not. It just, you know, it's an opportunity to do it. I like to go to Little Round Top, sit there, look at the battlefield. It's really pretty cool. I thought it was really pretty neat. Why is it closed for the next year and a half? They always got to fuck with everything, don't they? I thought it was really neat with the markers of the regiments. I really like that. Devil's Den's also closed for restoration. Wow, that stinks. I was there. It didn't look like it needed to be restored. I thought it was pretty cool. But at the same time, I came back from it and I told my wife, I said, I'm never taking you to a battlefield site. Because, you know, she'd be bored to tears. And honestly, you know, after going to those two places, I didn't need to go anywhere else. I didn't need to go to the museum. I didn't need to go to... What I really wanted to do is go to Aberdeen Proving Grounds, which I've never been. And, you know, and of course now they moved all the tanks and they're kind of in between places. And I heard rumors that they're not going to be available to the public because, man, I'd go hog wild there saying, you know, picking at all the stuff that's on it. But that's what I really wanted to do. But waited too long. A good chunk of them are moved to supposedly to Fort Lee, Virginia, which is on the way. And the last time that we went to Historicon, we went there to try to find them, and it wasn't open to the public. I went on the website to find out if I could get an answer, and I didn't. So we're searching around, going on a military base, and came up empty-handed. I've been to the woods where the Irish Brigade had their monument near the wheat field. That monument is lovely, but the area around it is probably the most eerie place on the field. I don't think so. I don't think so. You probably enjoyed it a lot more than I did as a reenactor, you know? Like, all right, if I gotta be here, how many paces is it from here to there? You're starting to look at it in those terms. When you have to do the physical work. If you had to, partake in it, kind of gives you a viewpoint that I wouldn't be privy to. All right, let's. We have any of the metal left here? No. All right. Where is that? Gives you the creeps. No, I can't say that I've been somewhere that gives me the creeps. That doesn't mean there isn't a place. I don't think I've been. I don't think I've been somewhere. Not in the daytime, anyways. The daytime, good people don't need to fear. They've got on the way up there, in a place called Danville, Virginia, there is a big museum of armored vehicles. Unfortunately, it's private. And unfortunately, they're only open on Friday and Saturdays, which is useless to try to piece together with a Historicon trip, because we need it to be open on a Tuesday. Even a Wednesday, we could probably get away with it, but it needs to be open on a Tuesday, or I guess on a Sunday on the way back. But so won't be able to see that. Oh well. They don't need me going over their tanks telling them they got the wrong tow hooks anyways. But I never got a chance to go to Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Wanted to. Been to a few Civil War battlefields in Georgia and Tennessee, but didn't get to spend too much time at either. This figure is not the best casting, but it's still better than I would do. So, like, I'm not a Napoleonics player, but I have played Napoleonics and enjoyed it. I don't know if I would enjoy American Civil War. Speaking of tanks, I got my airbrush to work and I got the Middlestone color on the King Tiger. Did you know that there was 2 colors of Panzer Dark Yellow? Like officially? Hey Gabriel, we're going to see you later this year when you come back into town. Do you freehand shields or just use transfers? Oh, I freehand everything. I love freehanding shields. That's the most fun part. You really want to go to China, but yeah, I know how that is. Yep, I'm not going to a place that can just... Yeah. There's probably some really cool things there. Absolutely. I mean, I like all that history. I just don't like what's going on these days. Don't think I'm going to be going anytime soon. All right. So, this shield is example of the one that's up there, and we're going to have to put a fake little rim on it. So let's go ahead and get the red color on here. And this is this red that I'm going to use. And let's go back over here to red corner. Might get busy with classes. Well, you know, if you don't have time to play DBA, you don't have time to play anything. That's what I say. Didn't know that. Isn't one for DAC and the other one for the rest of the army? No. No, there's one that they came out with later on. And I don't know the particulars. I found out about it recently. I mean, you know, when you're talking about Africa Corps, you know, Africa Corps first, they had everything was in gray. And then they oversprayed some colors. And then eventually they came out with a color. And then around the time of Gazala, they added another color. I want to say the 21st Panzer Division, when it came out, was painted in this other color. And it's slightly more brown looking. But no, this is just like in the European stuff. There's 2 different colors. And yeah, and the one you're talking about, the Middlestone color, that's the one that looks good. The other one is really yellowy. I don't have an example, but I found out about it a couple of years ago. Got to get going. Dinner doesn't make itself. Get it in my belly. Okay. Dinner doesn't make itself. It doesn't eat itself either. Yeah, there's actually 2. I wouldn't worry about it, but I was surprised to find that out. I don't know how I came across it. I certainly wasn't looking for it. I haven't done World War II stuff in a long time. Okay, this should be dark enough for this. We're going to paint this whole shield in this dark red. Because you'll look at some paints, it's like German yellow. I'm like, that's not the color you want to use. That's way too greenish. Yeah, they did. I'll have to find the info on it. I don't think that it's in any book that I have. So maybe it's something they came across recently. But, and you can see it in like some Panzerfaust. Some Panzerfaust will be painted in you know, the color that you're used to seeing. Because the standard color you're used to seeing is, well, like the color I painted in my Panther. It's a color, it's actually Vallejo green ochre is really close to it. Well, this is kind of like what Panzer Dark Yellow looks like. But there's another one that is greener, so to speak. And of course, some vehicles, they were in primer, like the rust primer, and then they sprayed camo onto it. And that looks terrible, you know. How did I get into the late Roman period? Well, I actually showed up to play a game called Armati first, and after playing a test game of it, nobody was running it in the con. They were running this silly game called DBA. I didn't know anything about it, and that's how I got into it. But what really got me into playing this game is the fact that it's not very many units, and everybody kind of uses their own troops. And I got burned out at a convention when I was putting on games, having to supply all the figures for everybody, and then have to worry about people ham-fisting and like damaging my stuff. You know, I don't want to. You know, I don't want people to be careless, and I have to repair the stuff just because of that. So, what really drew me to this game was that everybody's playing their own figures, and there's just not that many. And you know, it's kind of a generic game, and that everybody's blades kind of behave the same way. And I probably wouldn't tolerate it if it was like a World War II game. I know I wouldn't tolerate it. But because this is in a period that I need extreme accuracy or I'm unhappy, I've just kind of just dealt with it. And, you know, it's not perfect, but once you get used to finishing every single game, you have the green ochre and the middle stone. The middle stone, I want to say, is the color that I used to use for the Brits, but, you know, if I had to paint stuff now with the way I do things with blending, you know, adding a little bit of white and stuff like that, you know, you start with one color and you could end up with something else. But you get really used to finishing every single game, and if you get dealt a bad game in an hour and I missed another pink part, son of a biscuit eater. If you get dealt a bad hand or you roll badly, you know, your pain and suffering in your game is going to be over in about 50 minutes. So you're not stuck playing a game for 4 hours that you can't win. You can turn around and play another one where you can. And that makes the experience a lot more enjoyable for someone who's getting the shaft, so to speak. Winning isn't that important if you've won a lot of games before, but if you're a new player, I can see where it's frustrating, you know. So you don't want to get the new players frustrated where it's like, you know, this game's stupid, I don't want to play it anymore. You know, everybody wants a chance of victory, or they'll go find something else that's a little bit more enjoyable. All right, we need to do a dark ass blue. Dark ass blue. What's the darkest assest blue I have? Not that I can't just mix black with it, which is, I'm going to do that anyways. What do we have here? We have two candidates here. This one is dark Prussia blue. That's the winner right there. Where ist mein Prussian blue? My friends were in a naval wargaming. That's all we used to do a long time ago. Just looking at general quarters made me have a headache. Now, a lot of those games, You know, if you play it first and then you know what the hell you're looking at, it's all right. We used to play Siegkrieg, and Siegkrieg's more complicated than General Quarters, but I'm a rivet counter, so I got to have that kind of detail in a naval game where I'm not interested. But, I mean, I haven't played naval stuff since the early 90s, really. You hear that? There's a chunk of paint that's solidified in the middle there. How long do I plan to be on? I have to go make dinner in the next few minutes. You should be. I don't have any plans. It's the weekend. I would imagine I'd at least be on another hour. I would think. I would think that would be the case. Well, everybody that plays with us here in town, none of us are students. I haven't been a student in decades. As a matter of fact, I never went to the University of Florida. Just happened to be here because my dad used to teach there in the early 80s, but I haven't been in school since 1995, so I definitely don't miss that. Make a couple of cheeseburgers and some homemade French fries. A very fresh morning here in Armadale, Neg 3. You bastard. Well, Neg 3, what's that? That's like 28, something like that. Most of my friends are more Warhammer dudes. Yeah, I can't say that I've ever played Warhammer. Most people have, though. Judging from your last name, are you Vietnamese? Mitch's wife is Vietnamese. But he wants a Vietnamese army. And I think I got a way to kludge them together. That would be. So comparative $10, 67 figures, 770 seconds, seems a better deal. Yeah, I don't know if I did 1/72nd for DBA, I don't know what frontage I would use because I don't think they're going to fit on 40 millimeter frontage. I don't think that would work. Yes, you're Vietnamese. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mitch's wife is Vietnamese, so yeah, he wants a Vietnamese army like crazy. I said I'll build one and paint it, but I get to keep it. He can play it, but I need to open this thing up a little bit more and get some of this goodies out of it because watching battle reports, we have a ton of them. We had one hell of a fun time playing the game. And next week we should have some more battle reports. And then we'll probably go 2 weeks of not having any. Because we're going to the big con. Here we go. Let's get some of this goodness here. Do we go to a certain game store? We don't. The game stores here are not historical war game friendly. They basically don't have anything. And we've tried to put on games at game stores and nobody showed up. So it's like, screw it. We'll just play at our house. We'll just play at his house. We play at his house because his daughter's got to be watched. Got to be younger. Used to play at my house, but all right, we're going to put a little rim in blue. I'm not going to follow the instructions completely. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Never mind. We'll leave that blue right there. Let's see how it does to try to match that exactly. I don't think that those shield patterns are based on anything. I think it's just conjecture anyways. But I'm going to go ahead and go with that. Let's field drab. I already have field drab there. Let's get some yellow. And let's not use that yellow. Let's use the one that's a little bit less bold. So yeah, there's basically no game stores here. I mean, they do Warhammer and stuff like that, but you know, we don't really go to them. We play on Monday nights or Tuesday nights. Mitch has a schedule that is just demented. I have pretty much a normal schedule, Monday through Friday, off on weekends, and he works all weekends and he's off Monday, Tuesday. So, and when we're playing, his wife is working, so he's got to be kind of on duty for babysitting, so to speak. So, found an image that you might be interested in for your Byzantine command post. I'll send it to me shortly. Oh, maybe it's one I already have. Yeah, by all means. I know that is going to be one mounted figure. The Emperor is going to be mounted, and he's going to be on a purple caparisoned horse, as the description by the almighty Phil Barker says it should be. So we will put him on a purple caparisoned horse, and it's probably going to have some emblems on it, like some kairos on it. You know, it's not going to just be a purple cloth and here, have a nice day, you know. There's going to be more to it than that. But we'll do, he is the last guy. And we're going to do some peacock feather looking things on his helmet. And I got a pretty good idea how he's going to look, but he's going to be the last guy I'm going to paint. He's the last guy I'm painting. All right, so let's go. How did this moisture get on there? All right, are we going to do the center around it? Let's not do the center around it for the time being. I don't want every single guy in the army to have a flowery type shield. Place called Hurricane Hobbies. I want to say I went there. They don't have any game stuff there. But you're already in Jacksonville. I I think they just, a lot of these hobby stores that still exist, all they have is radio controlled stuff. So, all right, man, thanks for stopping by. All right, what is? Yeah, I'm gonna forego that. All right, let's go back to the blue. And it looks like there's every other. Let's use this straight from here. Let's not tinker with it. And there's a chance I may not like how this turns out at all. Now that we've got that, let's bring the red up. My normal inclination to have done this would have been to make the entire rim dark blue and then do yellow dots, not a yellow rim with dark blue dots. But I paint really thin, so if I don't like how this turns out, we just repaint it. I just don't want to have to repaint it just from the standpoint of why do things wrong the first time, you know? Not very satisfying doing things wrong. Should be able to tell that to some of my coworkers. All right, now let's use this pure red. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the yellow and bring the yellow parts up and then bring the blue parts up, and I think it'll end up turning out okay. I think it'll probably turn out okay. All right, let's go to where we left the yellow at, which was here, which is this color with a little bit of yellow and black, just a tiny little bit of black. All right, now let's take that color and add more yellow to it. And I'm okay with it looking a little green. I think this is going to turn out well after all. You know, I make mistakes, but I always make mistakes, unfortunately. But by the same token, this isn't my first rodeo. I have a lot of confidence that I can fix things to my liking if they don't look like they're heading in the right direction. alternate these two colors. So now I'm going to take the blue and lighten the blue up, which is just going to be just adding white to it. Let's grab some of this. We're going to have to lighten it more than that. You're not going to be able to, you can't even tell. Can't even tell. Okay, now we'll go back to the yellow. And this is why using a wet palette was good, because I don't have to mix it from scratch. It's not about wasting paint or not being able to mix the right color. It's just time wasted. To say it again, I need to quit my day job. So you need to get rid of this overhead and just do this all day long. Paint and shields. Let's take the same color and go around the rim. So you guys can catch a glimpse of what this is. Of course, the colors may end up being off on this. The colors are good for me, but no, I can't use the Little Big Man Studios ones. They're all for different manufacturers. And you know, I don't mind hand painting stuff anyways. We're not done yet, but inspired by that shield pattern, which is just came out of somebody's nether regions anyways, so we're going to bring the red up a little bit. All right. And we're not going to use yellow. We're going to use white. We don't need to bring it up very much. Hot damn. Hot damn. Now, how does he look compared to some of these other guys? Oh. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and it's going to look even better when it's sealed. I don't know what the magic of the sealing is, but hot frickin' damn. You can't get this enjoyment out of playing a video game. All right. So you just have to, impressionistic. Sometimes if you paint things impressionistically, you can get a lot further. So, all right, beard, and I'm gonna do the horse. We did the horse in the wrong order, but we may just say F it. Let's just give him a black horse, and I think I just made that decision. Give him a black horse. Give the man a black horse. The other one with the armor that I just did he have a black horse? What color did he have? He did. Okay, good. So I definitely won't do that one in the black horse. We'll make this one black. F it. Let's go ahead and get that dark red that we've been using for all of the trappings. Burnt cadmium red. This is burnt cadmium red land right here. We'll just drop this thing right here. I don't care how these guys do in battle. I love the way my Turks look, and they suck. They suck in battle. I would rather be happy with how they look than how they perform on the battlefield. So. Next weekend, I'm off to WinterCon in Canberra. You'll be running late pre-Islamic Arabs. Ah. Dude's on a date. 2 guys, 1 hump. It's a good list. I don't think what they look like is very inspiring. They're a little boring looking, but troop composition wise, that's a good army. Did you paint them specifically for that event, or you already had them and just needed to find an excuse to use them? I guess people are back to having shows now and events. That's good. I can tell you that army is not on my to-do list. One of the few. Hopefully they don't have any figures to buy at Historicon. And that sounds like that would be ridiculous, but it's actually not too far from the truth. Generally, there isn't. I really have to kind of go out of my way to try to find something. Because the fact of doing 15s, and the only vendor I know that will be there is, I know that the guys that used to carry Essex for the U.S. are supposedly there, but who knows what kind of inventory they have, because they stopped doing their mail order service right around the time of the pandemic. So they said they were going to keep going to cons, but I'm not sure how much inventory they have. And it's Essex figures, which are honestly like the easiest figures to get here in the States. So not a huge incentive in being tempted to buy them because they're not available normally. And then the only other vendor in 15 millimeter that's consistently there is Old Glory. And Old Glory is the 25 millimeter Old Glory. So they don't have any of the 15s, except they do carry Blue Moon. But I do not dislike the Blue Moon figures, but if I was going to do Dacians and Gauls, I think do Dacians, Gauls, and Germans. If I was going to do one of those, I wouldn't use their figures. I would use somebody else. So I'm looking for excuses to buy Forged in Battle, but I don't know. I should do. I should do a successor army is what I should do, but I may end up doing the Huns because I'm probably going to wait to make that decision to see if Mitch's Huns do arrive. You know, I already had them for 2.2 days, running a mix of 3 camel, 3 cav for the mounted with a light horse general. I happen to like a light horse general a lot, especially if there's a dog on the stand. And I found another army that would have a dog on the stand because it's an army that has capability of having war dogs. They're not given them in DBA 3.0, but if you play DBMM, they have war dogs. So, and they have a light horse general. That's the Paeonians. So, and they're an extremely sorry army, but they have some interesting allies that could work. So. I'm not going to be very excited to play battles against Mitch's new army if I don't have a new army of my own to play. So Huns may be the way to do it, and I've got a lot of Huns already. And it'll allow us a chance to experiment with some special rules for light horse. So that could be fun. But a light horse general could actually be really powerful. As long as you can keep them away from bow fire. All right. Let's go ahead and cover the black horse in black. The other black horse did not have any socks, is that correct? Let's see. No, he did. Well, maybe we'll only put 2 on this one. Gotta go. Okay. See you tomorrow morning. Enjoy the cool weather. That's what I need to do. I need to move to Australia in the summertime here, and then come back for the winter time here. So I have winter both times. I love winter, but then again, I've never lived in a place where you have to shovel anything, nor do I have any plans on living somewhere where you have to shovel stuff. Because I am not interested in doing that. Here's the black. Yep. The other 2 horses will be some form of brown on the other one. It's the most common horse. I'm actually going to, I'm not going to say take a break because it's not really a break. Let me go check on something. I'll be right back. All right. We got about 20 minutes, and then I gotta cut it off and do some family stuff together. So we'll be back on tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. So 20 minutes should give me, with a little bit of a hurry, enough time to get this done. What's left on him? Maybe. If not, we're going to be close. And this is how the shields of the other two guys will look. And they actually have a rim on them. So it should be easier to do. But, you know, you've got a huge boss difference. The boss on this one's huge, and the boss on these Old Glory ones are really, really small. But I would rather it be that way than use all the same manufacturer. I would rather, you know, it'll all look fine when it's all done. That sounds painful, cutting it off and all. Well, it's more painful if you don't have it cut off. Because then it gets all dirt. Well, never mind. Thank goodness I saw the empty table and I thought the rapture had happened. Oh, they're not taking me. I'm going to stay here and lead one of the armies. The one with wings or horns or something, but I'd never even heard about the rapture until I work with this guy at work, which it's been 30 years, but I'd never even heard about it before that. The same guy that was like, oh yeah, there's no dinosaurs because they didn't fit on the ark. Okay, you're fun at parties. Not going there. I grew up on, the first thing I was really into was dinosaurs. It's not fun to be left behind. It depends who's left with you. It's not fun to go on a trip and have a chaperone. I gotta finish watching. I gotta find where that show is available. And it was a show, I think it was a USA show that was on several years ago called The Dig. And it was a 10-part series, and I never watched the last episode. I never got a chance to. And it has Jason Isaacs in it. I mean, he's an archaeologist that gets sent to the Holy Land. And, you know, there was some find that they found, and I don't remember right now what it was, but it was basically uncovers this conspiracy of these evangelicals that are funding these guys to rebuild the temple and bring about the, you know, not the good times. So, you know, I don't think there was supernatural stuff in it. You know, it's, you know, like I always say, it doesn't matter whether you believe in certain things. If people are doing human sacrifices, people are still dying. So, but I thought it was pretty good. It was kind of like a thriller, and I never got a chance to watch the last episode, but I rather liked it. And it's kind of a problem because I think it's called Dig. It's either called Dig or The Dig, and there's another movie called Dig or The Dig, and it's not that. It's a mini series that came out. I don't know, probably. Well, it might have been 10 years ago now, but 7 or 8 years ago, more than likely. Let's see. What am I missing? Sorry, Tony. I already command the army of angels. You could be my banner bearer. I don't know. Are they fun at parties? You're searching for a beer bearer. Could be like in Diablo. If you guys have played Diablo 3, both the demons and the angels are both bad. I don't like. I was talking about this the other day with my daughter, and I said, I don't like themes of movies and stuff that promote, celebrate, whatever, the destruction of humanity. I'm just like, I'm taking whatever side, the other side, whatever it is, Especially if it's something extreme, like, people that are looking forward to the plants taking over the earth and all humanity dying. I'm like, well, I'm fighting you. I'm fighting your ass right now. It's on. Or, humans die, and humans do lots of bad shit. Don't get me wrong, and they've done bad shit, and they will continue doing bad shit. But if the animals were in charge, it would be a lot worse. And you could make an argument that a lot of the humans are animals. I wouldn't disagree with you, but it's like those happy little lizards. Those happy little lizards that are running around. Yeah, if they were the size of dinosaurs, they would be, they would be terrorizing us. So. Bear, a good chocolate scout. I like beer, and I'm always surprised by people that say they don't like beer, because there's so many beers. You can't just say I don't like beer, because they have all kinds of different ones. But I don't think I do well with it. I get a headache too easy from it. I may have a mild allergy to it. Mild like it. It doesn't keep me from having it, but I do a lot better with whiskey. On that note, I may have a beer though. While we watch a movie. I'm gonna get talked into watching a family movie here shortly, and I don't even know what it is. Even a beer that I would not be, as long as it has taste. Okay, it can't be a beer that's just all water and no taste. But even like an IPA, I'm not a fan of IPAs. I don't like that the aftertaste on it. But I can appreciate them. You're not fond of American beer. Nobody is. But when you're thinking American beer, you're thinking of mass-produced shit. There's all kinds of people that make different stuff. Haven't tried German beer. German beer is where it's at. That is the land of beer. Just like England is the land of toys. And people from the UK will argue with you, like, our beer is the best. No, it's not. Just stick with toys, man. I buy a lot more toys than beer. I don't know what movie I'm going to watch. My beer limit's 2 pints, then I fall asleep. Yeah, there's that. Definitely. Brought this up the other day to Mitch. See what you guys think. Beer goes the best with what? And I gave him choices. Nordic's probably already heard this one because he lives here. But beer and brats, beer and pretzels, or beer and pizza. And Mitch and I disagree on this one. But who cares? He's wrong. Greek ouzo is nice. I've never had it. Withstand at least 8 shots of absinthe. I don't think I've had it. Kevin's got the right answer. Pizza, absolutely. As long as it's not Italian beer with pizza. Those people do not need to, you know. They can stick to food, olive oil, guns, not beer. They do not know what the hell they're doing in the beer department. Naked women go good with everything. Not a family gathering, they don't. Things that make naked women don't go well with. How about a bar mitzvah? Probably not a good idea. We'll start off finishing this guy in the morning. Obviously, you're excluding such things. I don't know. In these times that we live in, everything goes. Right? Not only everything goes, but you have to accept people when everything goes. Okay. Let's use a gray color, but that has a little bit of brown in it. Maybe something like this. Oh, that's stoner hoof color. Far out, man. Oh, now we got a problem. Problem we have, it's not really a problem, is I can't read the writing on either one of these, and one of these is called stone. I wrote stone, the other one is stone gray. Oh well, they're close enough to each other. I can use hoofstone, all have to be the same color. Those are colors I've actually used quite a bit. You have to be close. We're going to go with pale gray, and we're going to add some brown undertones to it. Yes? Okay. All right, well, we're going to have to cut it off right there because I gotta be fed, and then we will just roll it back into this tomorrow morning. The one that is stone gray, and the other is stone. Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow morning, same bat time, and we'll pick it up where we left off. And looking forward to doing the rest of these shields. Man, I love doing shields. Just can't get enough of them. All right, folks, have a good night. Enjoy what's left of your Saturday, and we'll see you in the morning. 1809 campaign would be awesome. I agree. That's what I would do. I want to be the Austrians with those German helmets. I don't know if you can see them in 6mm, but big fan.